Folks, welcome back. I have your latest home prices and insights for the City of Toronto for week ending April 20th, 2022. I have proof Toronto home prices are dropping fast. Let me tell you something that I recently experienced being a realtor here in the City of Toronto. We've been working with a client who's been thinking of selling off and on for about 3 years now. Well, he called me earlier in the year to say that his son was looking to buy. His son recently starting a young family, needs a bigger place and was looking to buy. So early in the year, we started helping the son to find a place. And the parents were heavily involved in sometimes coming to showings, and were just involved in giving the son some guidance, which we welcome that. There's no problem with that. You know, we put in offers. If you recall how the market was in January, very aggressive, very competitive. Well, we lost out on a few offers, and properties were selling just much higher than anybody expected. And the parents hated it. They kept complaining of how this is unfair. My son shouldn't be competing with people that are just looking for investment properties, or my son just needs a bigger place to raise his family. And this whole blind bidding thing was like the worst thing that could happen to real estate, and why these sellers being so greedy, and all these things, all these obstacles that the son was going through to buy, the parents were just like really internalizing and just hating the system. Eventually we bought, the son was happy, everything worked out. Well, very little while ago, very short period ago, I get a call from the parents thinking now they want to sell their house. So off and on for 3 years, but now they're ready to sell. So I go for the listing presentation to talk about getting their home ready, to talk about pricing their home, and their attitude was they want an offer date. And I went in with the attitude that, well, there's two pricing strategies. We get priced low and have an offer date, or we get priced traditional. And I kind of went with the attitude for two reasons of pricing traditional. One was parents just obviously expressed that they didn't like that whole thing. And two, the market has changed. The market has shifted, and I had proof that a bunch of recent offer dates in their neighborhood just didn't work out. But the parents were adamant. These are some of the things we experience every day. When they're buying, it's one attitude. When they're selling, it's a completely different attitude. But the parents wanted an offer date. And when we talk about potential price the home was going to sell at, I'm showing them proof of the most recent sales, like just on their same street. But they're looking at sales 2 and 3 months ago, and they wanted $200,000 more than what made sense. Human nature, what can you do, right? These are the things that we experience. I'm telling this story also because I know there's situations that happen like this to realtors all the time, and realtors will react differently to this. There's many realtors that just would have immediately signed this family up to a listing agreement to lock them in at the price they wanted, which was too high. The property would sit there. But their whole system, their whole strategy in getting the listing is to have the highest listing price of any realtors that speak to that family, just to lock them in. And then every 2 weeks, they'll beat them up for a price reduction, and they'll blame it on the market, for example. But the truth is, when they sat in for the listing presentation, the market had already changed. But they're telling the sellers what they want to hear. Some of us consider our job a bit more professional than that, and have the attitude as professionals and as consultants, our job is really to tell the truth and to show proof of why we're saying what we're saying and why prices are what they are, and to really give the right information, the truth about home prices, the truth about what a property would sell for. We know sellers are relying on their sale price. Whether they're retiring or whether they're moving up to another property or moving in down, it's irrelevant. Everybody's counting on their sale price and counting on maximizing it, but it should still be the truth. And that's how some of us run our business. Be careful about who you work with, about someone who's just telling you what you want to hear. You really, if you're a seller, should be seeking the truth when it comes to home prices and what your property should sell for. As always, who you hire matters. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. Let's get into the numbers. If you want to speak with me, anything at all related to real estate, selling, buying, whatever's on your mind, really simple. Below this video, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you. This way, I'll know ahead of time. I'll make sure I'm available and we could talk about whatever's on your mind. Okay, let's get into the numbers. Proof Toronto home prices are dropping. I have here City of Toronto. It's just the city. There's no suburbs in here. There's no Peel region, York region, just the City of Toronto for detached properties only, broken down by a week for a whole year. Week ending April 20th is right here. Sales plummeted from the previous week. We sold 147 detached properties. And, you know, sometimes when we're comparing just to the week before, it's like, hey, you know, so what? The week before was a record week. Well, it wasn't. Sales have been generally low to begin with. But to be down to 147 detached properties, there was no holiday weekend, there was no long weekend, there was nothing going on except buyers didn't show up at the table. Buyers weren't there to buy. 147 detached properties only, and only 32 properties selling at $2 million or more. The previous week we sold 82. We're down by 50 properties. And for sure that has an astronomical effect on average sold price. So average sold price has come down. It's now at $1,762,000. Now it's difficult to base, it would be wrong actually to base any kind of real estate decision just in 1 week. 1 week does not make a trend. But overall, prices have been kind of trending down. And the fact that we sold only 147, well, the next few weeks are going to be really telling as to what's happening. But this is an extremely low week of sales. But let me get into some other proofs. Average sold price is 2% higher than what it was last year. So we're basically where we were a year ago when it comes to average sold price. But look at median price. Median price is 3%. When we look at average sold price, there's peaks and valleys because of the high selling prices or the low selling prices, and price can fluctuate. However, median is usually more even keel and more telling of which way prices are going. And if we look at median price, we can see here, February, we were the high 1.6s. Now we're in the low 1.6, and last week it was 1.5, 1,500,000. So median price has been trending down. There's one, fairly good proof right there that average sold prices are coming down. Let's look at sales overall. Well, of the 147 that sold, 69% sold at list price or more. And why is that a factor? Why do I even look at percentages selling at list price or more? Well, it kind of tells me or shows me how aggressive the market is. When we're up here in the 80s and 90% selling at list price or more, it means buyers are just aggressively competing to buy. When 69% are selling at list price or more, there's less buyers, or we're competing on less properties. The percentage of properties that people are competing on is much lower. So, and it has to do with confidence of the sellers and confidence of, what price do we put? Do we put a low price and get people competing, or do we price it traditional? Depending on the confidence level in the market will determine the right pricing strategy. But overall sales, year to date from January 1st to April 20th, we're 22% lower sales this year than what we were selling last year. So sales overall are lower. The orange, that's this year. The blue is last year's sales. Way lower, 22%. Let's look at listings. Listings year to date are 13% lower. So listings here, 395 for last week. Sales are way down. 147, I think, sales were. Listings are a little bit higher, but overall way lower than where we were last year. Active listings is higher, so sales are lower. Active listings is higher. Let's look at months of inventory. Months of inventory took a huge jump. It's sitting at 1.8. And I use months of inventory as a very strong gauge as to where the market is headed. Nobody can predict the future, but we could look at months of inventory, and it's really kind of gives us a lot of signs here, a lot of evidence. And we used to be around 0.6 months of inventory. Then we went to 0.9. Then we hit 1. Now we're at 1.8. So months of inventory is increasing. And as months of inventory goes up, meaning properties are sitting on the market longer, or there's more properties available than at the rate we're buying, so supply and demand means that there's more to choose from, means prices will tend to come down. So as months of inventory goes up, average sold price will tend to come down, and median price will tend to come down. And we're going to see these examples in a bunch of the other home types and areas. So this was for all of Toronto. Let's break Toronto down into 3 sections: west, central, and east. We got central up here. Average sold price came down last week. We've got the orange is west. Average sold price has been coming down. And we've got the east, burgundy. Average sold price has been coming down. Let's look at it a little bit closer. So we got west. Average sold price took a huge dive last week. It's now $1,513,000. Sales dropped. We sold only 44 properties in the west part of Toronto. Sold at list price or more, 68%. Average sold price is 4% higher than last year. Now, a year-over-year gain of 4, 5, 6% would normally be okay. It's not what we're used to. We're used to 20%, 25%, 19%. So when we see 4%, it's like, oh no, it's not so bad. But 4% is way less than what we're used to. Median price is only 2% higher than what it was last year. But to me, looking at months of inventory, 0.5, 0.7, 0.8, 9. Last week it was 1.6. So it's like, whoa, going up. As months of inventory go up, you're going to see prices come down. Let's look at central Toronto. Sales were only 37. In all of central Toronto, only 37 detached properties were sold. Sold at list price or more, 51%. So half are selling at list price or more. The other half selling below list price, half. We're used to seeing 70, 80, 90% selling at list price or more. Average sold price is 10% higher than last year. Median price is 7% lower than last year's median price. And look at months of inventory. It's going up. We had one week over here, March 23rd at 3, but it's been going up, and now it's sitting again at 3.1 months of inventory. It's very close to what we would call a balanced market. And based on how aggressive things have been, there's even an argument saying we should change the whole balanced market thing, not at 4 months, but at 3 months. Well, evidence is there that 51% are selling at list price or more. So maybe 3 months is the new balanced market with buying and selling attitudes these days. We need to come back and look at that differently. East Toronto, only 66 detached properties were sold. 80% were sold at list price or more, so still relatively aggressive in East Toronto. Average sold price is 4% higher than last year. Median price is 9% higher than last year. But look at months of inventory from 0.4, 0.6, 0.9. Now it's at 1.1. We haven't seen 1.1 months of inventory in East Toronto in a long, long time. Months of inventory is going up. We're going to see average sold price coming down. Let's take a look at semi, a quick snapshot. Same idea with months of inventory. Months of inventory is heading up. We're going to see, which we are seeing, average sold price coming down. An average sold price is currently 11% higher than last year. Median price is 7% higher than last year. And townhouses, same idea. We're seeing months of inventory go up. Average sold price is coming down. Sales, only 14 detached property, only 14 townhouses. These are freehold townhouses. 14 in all of City of Toronto were sold. So not many of those sales going on. Average sold price is 8% higher than last year. Median price is 16% higher than last year's median price. Let's look at condos. Look at sales. Way down. 253 condo sales. 35 of those were at $1 million or more, which is way down from the previous week of 55. And the 253 sales is way down from the previous week of 361. Just recently, we were in the mid 400s selling condos every week. We're now at 253. Average sold price is sitting at $818,000, and it's coming down. You can see it. It's not aggressive, but it's gradually coming down. Well, $818,000 is 10% higher than what it was last year at this time. I had said we sold 35 at $1 million or more this year. Well, last year we sold 50. So the fact that we're selling so many more last year, we're still 10% higher than last year's average sold price, kind of tells you how much higher we are in price. Well, average sold price is 10% higher. Median price is 9% higher. Median price is sitting at $710,000, and it is coming down. We used to be $750, $757. It's gradually coming down. It's a slow, it's just gradually coming down. I'm not saying it's crashing, but gradually coming down. The detached market is coming down more aggressively than that. Looking at the 253 that sold, 67% sold at list price or more. We used to be in the high 80s selling at list price or more, so it's less competitive, more choices. That tends to bring prices down. When we look at sales, however, we're year-to-date sales 19% lower than a year ago, year-to-date January 1st to April 20th. 19% less sales, 2% less listings. We listed 706 condos last week. Active listings is up to just over 2 million, to 2,041 active listings. Look at months of inventory. It's just a steady increase. 0.6, 0.8, 1, 1.2, 1.9 as active listings come up. And even if sales stay steady, which they didn't, sales came down, more inventory, more choices, months of inventory goes up, average sold price, you're going to see it continue to come down. Now, I could be saying this, and next week everything could change, and all of a sudden buyers come out of the woodwork, start buying things up. I'm not seeing that though, because there's a lot of confusion out there. A lot of people wondering what's happening with the market. So this is what's going on right now. Thanks for watching. You've got the real numbers. Have an awesome day.